Welcome, everyone. I'm Anna Johnson, representative for District 8, and I want to welcome every one of you to the roundtable discussion today. We always like to start out with the pledge, so I'm going to lead us in the pledge, and I don't have my flag here right now, so I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right. So today we have the pleasure of having Mr. Isaac Kramer. There he is, to talk with us about voter election today. It's going on now, early voting. And I hope that you all have some questions to ask him. I understand a lot of people have already started doing the early voting, which started on Monday. And I'm so glad to hear that. And I'm going to start with Mr. Kramer, and we have a follow-up after him with Mr. Tunick, who's going to do a discussion on broadband. So, Mr. Kramer, take it away.
Well, thanks for having me this morning, or now this afternoon. Sorry, days get long when you're working
Yes.
Early mornings, late nights. Yeah, so Ms. Johnson, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the election coming up. It's important that we know that our voters are vote ready ahead of the election. And vote ready means multiple things. One, making sure that your address is up to date. So go to scvotes.gov. You can look at your voter profile. You can see where you're registered in your polling location, and as well as your sample ballot. We want you to be ready before you cast your ballot. You know, going into the voting booth, it's very important you reviewed your ballot ahead of time. There's down ballot contests like your local school board. There's the constitutional questions. There's a couple local questions for municipalities. And also we have public service district. And those are not partisan races. Those, if you vote straight party, you're going to miss out on the down ballot races. So be vote ready. Go to scvotes.gov. Early voting has started. That's open to all eligible voters. When I say eligible, you're registered to vote. Any Charleston County voter can go to any early voting location. It doesn't matter where you live. So if you work downtown and you want to vote downtown, but you live in Hollywood, you can vote downtown. You can vote at the main library there. We're open 8:30 to 6, Monday through Saturday till November 5th. So that's plenty of opportunities to cast your ballot. I'm excited to say, Charleston, we're at 12,000 people have already cast their ballot. We're on pace to shatter every record that we've ever set for a gubernatorial election year. I think we're going to just be under what we did in 2020 for a presidential, but that's a presidential election, and we're not going to be far behind. So it's really exciting. We've expanded to 7 locations across the county. We have the convention center in North Charleston. It's in Hall C. We have a parking garage right next to the building that it's at that voters can park in. There's a curbside lot in Lot C that you can go if you're unable to enter the polling place. We can serve you from your vehicle. And then we have Mount Pleasant Seacoast Church, and also West Ashley Seacoast Church. We have the downtown main library that I talked about. There's parking garage at the library, or if it fills up because there are too many people there, we do have overflow parking at the aquarium, and that's free parking for voters. You will vote and you'll be given a voucher to redeem after voting. We're also at James Island Baxter Patrick Library, which is a new location for us, and it's a great location. We love it there. We also have Johns Island Library there, and I got a wave from Miss Wagner. We're enjoying our experience there. We have a lot of voters on Johns Island, so utilize that right off Maybank Highway. The Hollywood Library, we're really excited to be in that area of the county. We've never been out there during the general election. And I believe I don't know if I said, but West Ashley Seacoast Church. So 7 locations. Go to any one of them. You can go vote early. And just before I kind of go to the next part, I do want to highlight it is important when you go vote that you're presenting your photo ID to check in. So you're going to need that with you. You don't need an excuse. So you no longer need to say I'm over 65 or I'm going to be working or I'm on vacation. It's just like election day. You will show your ID and then you will go vote. And then when you're voting, we're a paper-based system, which means you go to a ballot marking device, and that ballot marking device is like a ink pen. So I want you to imagine that all you do is making your selections, and then the ballot prints that out. Now it's important when you look at your ballot and you're reviewing it that you have selected. And here's the beautiful thing: it doesn't cast your ballot for you. You have to actually print it out. So you'll have multiple ways that you need to review your screen before you print it out. And if you made an error, if you press something and something didn't register correctly, that's okay. You can correct that. You can make that selection again and press the button for the candidate or party that you choose or the issue on the amendment. And I do want to say lastly with that, then you print your ballot out. That's another check for you to look at your ballot. And if there's any error, let's say you printed it out and it's not one of the selections wasn't what you wanted, you just go to see a poll manager and they will help you spoil that ballot, and then you'll get to go on the ballot marking device again. So there is that protection for you if that happens when you're casting your ballot, whether that's early voting or on election day. With absentee voting, important law change here. We're on October 26th right now. In 2 days is the last day to return an application for an absentee ballot. At this point in the game, if we mail you an application, you're probably not going to get it in time. So you're going to have to come to our office and request that application to vote by absentee ballot. But you can always early vote. You can do curbside. If you can't get out of your vehicle, that's okay. But just letting you know that Friday at 5 p.m. is the last time, the date and time, 5 p.m., to return your absentee application. Now, the ballots, last day to mail them is Friday, the 28th. So the deadline is coming up very quickly. If you've put your application in the mail and it's not received by us by 5 p.m. on October 28th, you will have to go to an early voting polling location, or you can vote on election day. So that's a big change from the legislation in May, and want to make sure voters are aware of that. As well, with absentee ballots, we want to ensure that you return them in time. You can drop them off at any early voting location between 8:30 to 6, Monday through Saturday, or you can mail it back to us or bring it to the main Board of Elections office. The deadline to return your absentee ballot is November 8th at 7 p.m. So as long as we receive your ballot by 7 p.m. on election night, your vote will count. Postmark is not allowed in South Carolina. So if you are worried that your ballot will not make it to our office in time, there's an authorized representative that can take your ballot on your behalf, and they will fill out that form, and there's some check boxes that you need to ensure before that happens, but you need to sign that form, and then you will have your representative bring it on your behalf or family member. With the absentee ballots, I also want to make note of a new change. You need to sign. So this part's not a change, but I just want to let you know the steps of your ballot return. So the envelope that you're mailed has a voter signature field. You have to sign that. Then you'll have a witness field. They'll sign. A witness can be anybody that's over 18. They'll sign. They'll print their name. That's the new addition. That's brand new. You have to print your name of the witness. So if it's your spouse, it's your child, it's your aunt, uncle, cousin, friend, neighbor, they can witness that for you, but they also have to print it. And then they put their address at the bottom. And while you're signing your ballot, you also need to put the date. So it'll say voter signature, and then it'll say the date. So you need to put in the date and then the witness information. All those fields. Yep.
I just need to make sure all those fields have to be filled in. The date,
That's correct.
your signature, the witness, printed name and signature, or it would not be counted.
That's correct. And if you have any questions about your ballot, there's a tracking of your absentee ballot. If you mail it in or if you drop it off, you can see the status. Go to sevotes.gov and you can put in your information. There's actually a ballot tracking ability, so you can see the information about your ballot, and you can sign up for notifications about your ballot. So if you want to know where your ballot is in the mail stream when you mail it back, you'll get a text message or email. And then when it's delivered to the Board of Elections, you will get that notification automatically saying your ballot has been received by the Board of Elections. So that's a really cool feature that it's kind of new. We've been doing it for about 2 years now, but we usually have about 1,000 voters who sign up for that. And that gives them that assurance that their ballot was received by our office. So absentee ballots, early voting, and then lastly, Election Day. November 8th, 7 a.m. polls open and close at 7 p.m. It's important that if you plan to choose to vote on Election Day, that you just ensure that your polling location, you know where that is. sevotes.gov is a great resource for that. But you can also call our office. We have a call center up and running. You'll talk to one of the staff here, and they're going to help answer any of your questions that you may have, whether it's voter registration, polling location, how to get your sample ballot, about your absentee ballot. But if you call, we will be able to assist you and help you. That's something we want to make very clear. If you need trusted election information from the experts, the people who do it, you need to call us.
Okay, thank you very much.
And you need to call us. I don't want you getting your information from your neighbor's friend or cousin, or a friend of a friend said this or that. If you have any questions about the election, you need to call and contact our office, because we're the ones that are the experts. We are the ones that are the trusted source of election information. We are monitoring. I see it all the time. I see posts on Facebook. I see on Twitter, people saying things that are not necessarily true. And then that word spreads around the community very fast. So before you listen to a friend of a friend, verify that information. You can go to our website, you can go to our social media pages, and get all the election information. So that's a little bit that I had to just say about the voting process coming up, and open up to any questions or anything Ms. Johnson wanted me to highlight even more.
All right, we'll hear from our participants first, if anybody have any questions. Nobody have a question? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you did an excellent job, huh? Well, I just want to highlight some things that you did say, just in case people want to go back and, look at the recording and to see what we really deem as things to look out for. So now, Mr. Kramer, you said that the last day that you will receive the absentee ballots and the office will be 10/28.
So good clarifying question. The application. So
the
last
application.
day, the application. So
That's what it is. Okay.
yeah. So before you get an app, and this is how it works in South Carolina, and you might see across the country, certain states, they mail all the voters' ballots. But in
Mhm.
South Carolina, you have to request that. And there's the first initial request where you're asking for the application. After the request for the application is mailed to you. Or if you're in person, you can pick it up and sign it right there. You'll sign the application, and then you'll send it back to our office by mail or in person. Electronic delivery is not allowed for that. You will then receive the ballot. So what we were talking here about October 28th on Friday at 5 p.m. was the application. Once that application is received, a ballot is mailed out. So the application deadline is Friday, and that's the last day we're mailing out absentee ballots. And Ms. Johnson, real quickly about that too. So there's one exception to that rule, and this is important. If you're an emergency patient in the hospital, so God forbid something happens to you prior to the election, within 4 days of the election, so that Friday to Election Day, if you're an emergency patient in the hospital, you can designate a family member to come and pick up an application for you to get a ballot. That is the only time that it's allowed where you can pick up a ballot from the office and do it in that 4-day window. The law says that. So emergency patient designates their family member to come in. They'll get the application. They'll bring it to the hospital. It'll be signed by the voter in the hospital, brought back to us. We will then issue the ballot, and the ballot will be hand delivered to the voter by that family member in the hospital. But that's under the law, and that ballot still has to be received by 7 p.m. on election night. And this happens. Every election will have 1 or 2 people who utilize this, but it's one of those things not a lot of people talk about. But I do have a letter from the Post and Courier, which is actually, you could see right there, that inspired me to get this out. Was, there are people, and he said, I couldn't vote, I was in the hospital, and there needs to be something done about that. So that is important information to know. And that was actually my first election ever working, and I want to make sure that our voters are aware that, hey, if you have a emergency situation in the hospital, you still can vote.
Okay. And so I was surprised to hear about the postmark date. So you said that that is not effective here in Charleston,
In South
South
Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the law says it has to be received by election day, and the applications have to be received by the 11 days prior to the election at 5 p.m. So nothing in the law that allows us to do that, and the law very clear that ballots are to be received in the office by 7 p.m. November 8th.
So I think I'd like for our participants to be aware that if you are running close to the election day time and you're not sure if the mail, you have a question that it might not be delivered in the mail, then just take the ballot over to one of those early voting places and drop
Yes.
it, right? You can drop it at any one of the early voting places.
Yeah, you'll bring it to the poll manager who will put you in. You need a photo ID to do that. That's a new requirement in state law. So you'll have your photo ID, and if it's not you, so if you're dropping off a ballot for your family member or you're the authorized representative of that voter, you'll have the form, the authorized form that's included in every ballot package, filled out with the ballot and your photo ID, and you will bring it inside to the location.
Mhm.
And I think I want to let all the viewers know that it's important that you go out and vote. It's your voice, and the viewers should also be aware that early voting, there are no lines. I mean, we've had a record turnout, and people are waiting 5 minutes or less to vote.
Right.
And that's our busiest locations across the county. You're having 5-minute wait times, and I'm going to tell this to Ms. Johnson. Berkeley County was having 45 minutes to 1 hour wait times for voting with only a fifth of our voters. So
Oh,
we're
wow.
ready. We're staffed properly across the county. We know that we want to have the best service to our voters. So if you're going today to Hollywood Library to vote, if you're going to Seacoast, West Ashley, please do not let an idea of a line, prohibit you from going, because there isn't. I visited every location, and it's been smooth sailing. If there is a line, it's of like 5 to 10 people, and they're in and out. And just be aware that next week, the week before the election, it's going to get busier and busier and busier.
Yes.
So there will be some wait times, but by and large, people are getting in and out.
Okay, I got it.
Mhm. Okay, go ahead. Well, I was thinking in terms of people who may need some help at the poll. They can still take a representative with them in the poll. They just have to say that's their representative to the manager, and that person could help them fill out the voter ballot.
Yeah. 2 options for voters who need assistance. They can designate somebody to come in to help them. They can't be a union representative for their employment, or they can't be like a campaign operative. But They can be anyone else. So family, friends, neighbor, the voter designates who that is. The second thing with that, if you're going by yourself and you need assistance, you can ask the poll managers there to assist you, and they will. So we've had voters who are blind. We've had voters that needed assistance with marking the ballot. You will have that assistance if you don't have someone to go with you. This is something near dear to me. I have a sister with special needs. So if for any reason you need assistance, you will have assistance at the polling location, either by a staff member or somebody you bring in with you to help you.
Okay. Where are you getting most of your traffic now? Can you tell us?
Yeah. Our busiest location is Mount Pleasant Seacoast Church. They've been leading the day every day, followed by West Ashley Seacoast Church,
Okay.
and then Baxter Patrick. We've been getting a good turnout on James Island. The Convention Center, North Charleston, is right behind them, and then Johns Island. Our two lowest so far have been Main Downtown Library in Charleston, and Hollywood. Now, Hollywood just doesn't have the same amount of voters that Mount Pleasant does, so that's why they're a little bit lower. But I'm very excited to see that we are having, and I can tell you, let me pull that information up real quick. It's cool data. You know, in Hollywood, we've already had 750 people vote.
Oh, that's great.
That's great. And it's something that our office has really tried to do, is expand the office's outreach from our rural areas to urban
Yes.
areas.
And I truly appreciate that, Mr. Kramer. You know that. And to utilize the libraries the way we're doing all the time is a great resource, and also a reminder that the taxpayers did the right thing when they voted for that referendum.
I'm going to tell you right now, they're our best partners when it comes to ensuring that we have great elections. They're tremendous in letting us use the locations. I've told the executive director, Angela Craig, and thanking her. And
Yes.
something really awesome that I heard from Mr. John Walden, who is one of the deputy directors there, and he told me, he's like, when it comes to elections, the library folks are very excited. All the branches are really excited about voting starting. So I'm really honored for that. And and when I went to James Island and to Johns Island, you know, they're smiling and they're happy. This is a really cool opportunity to showcase Team Charleston County government and the services we provide our citizens. It's putting us on display. So I'm thankful for the library.
All right, great thing. Anyone else have any questions or comments to make? Okay, going once. We got a thumbs up, going twice. No one else? Well, Mr. Kramer, thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your information with us. And we applaud you for your leadership and trying to make us have more places to go to get that early voting and just to get the word out. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. And once again, Ms. Johnson, if anybody has any questions about voting, something that may have happened, call our office. If on election day or in early voting locations you have any questions, talk to your poll managers, flag a poll manager, say, hey, I have a question, and they're going to help you. And just thank you for having me on today. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Isaac, what's your phone number? And I'll put it in the chat.
Yep.
Not your phone number, but the office number.
Yeah, it's 843-744.
8683.
8683. I'm sorry. Yeah. I said it earlier, but a lot of numbers. So no, I appreciate you all, and hope you all encourage your friends and family to go vote.
All right. Thank you. Okay. That ends the election information. So now we are going to gear up for Mr. Tunick to come on and tell us about the broadband, what updates he might have for us. You know, Mr. Tunick, we have been doing this since the beginning of the pandemic, and I certainly appreciate the effort that the staff is putting into this to, help bring that information to the public and to make sure that we're on key whenever we can help out, as far as supporting any vendors that are looking to expand in the area and be able to provide more services there. So thank you again.
Absolutely, Ms. Johnson. Thank you for having me today.
Okay.
Everyone hear me okay?
All right.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what we're doing to ensure that the funding that the state has provided and the federal government goes towards Charleston County. We want to get our fair share to build out broadband in areas that are underserved or unserved. And a lot of Ms. Johnson's district is in that category. So Charleston County has been working with 3 vendors that service District 8, and that's PRTC, Palmetto Rural Telephone Cooperative, Comcast, and AT&T, partnering with them in a certain respect to provide them the resources they need to help them obtain funding. So right now, the state of South Carolina has provided a big old pot of money, $425 million to out of state ARPA funds. That's the American Rescue Plan Act, and is now taking applications to allocate that money to underserved areas. And the applications have been submitted, and the awards are due by the end of this calendar year, by the end of December. So what does that mean for Ms. Johnson's constituents? Well, let me provide some information in regards to that. I'm trying to share my screen. Kristen Worster.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right, there we go. Let me get this up here. Okay, can you all see that? The map?
No, I can't.
Let me try that again. Oh, screen 1. Now, no.
No. You want to email it to me and I can try to do it?
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, actually, there you go. Now we see it. Well, we
Okay.
see your calendar.
Oh, don't look. All right. Here we go. All right, so here's the map. You all see that now?
No, we still
Oh.
see your calendar.
All right. In there, stand by, folks. Here we go. Now, can you see it?
No.
Not yet.
I'm gonna try to stop it and then let you start over. Okay, start over again.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
All right. All right. Technical problem, but we fixed it. Okay.
Mhm.
So here is a map of southern Charleston County. And a lot of this is District 8. This is PRTC, Palmetto Rural Telephone Cooperative. They just provided me this information, and let me explain what it is. In the blue here, between Hollywood, Baptist Hill, and the Edisto River here, this is areas that they've completed build out. Fiber gig service is now available in this entire area. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 census blocks. So if you don't have service or you're not happy with the service, go on PRTC's website. That's prtc.us, and you can get very high quality, super fast broadband throughout this entire area. They've completed build out, and this was based on some grant funding they got from the federal government. So just to give you your bearings, this is Highway 162 here. here's Hollywood, Baptist Hill, and down here's 174 down here. So it's bounded by 174, 162, and the Edisto River service is now available. Okay, what about, is there a question? Go ahead, please.
Well, I guess I was just gonna ask, so that means this Parker's Ferry is still not included in that?
Well, let me get to the next area.
Okay.
So in the orange that you see here, all these areas here have been applied by PRTC to the state broadband office for full build out in these areas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the good news is that these areas qualify for priority one broadband grants. That means they have the unserved and underserved, and they have the housing density as well, which makes them priority one. So
Okay,
they expect they will hear back by the end of December, before Christmas, probably by mid-December, if they are getting awarded these areas. But this covers Parker's Ferry, Ms. Johnson.
yes,
It covers Edisto Island and quite a number of your areas that are currently underserved.
okay. So somewhere by the end of December, we should know.
Yes, ma'am.
If the grant was, if they got the grant or not. Because I do have some people that are ready, just waiting to hear.
I'm
Mhm.
absolutely sure that that's the case, because without decent internet, you're at a serious disadvantage for e-commerce, e-learning, everything involved with an E, and you need
Right.
to have need to have broadband. So the county is, we can't apply ourselves, but we have worked with PRTC to get to this point where they've submitted their applications, and so we'll see. I don't want to express too much optimism, but we've made it known that at the state level, Teddy Pryor, our chairman, wrote a letter to PRTC in support of their service that was submitted in the application package. And we have a very good relationship with PRTC, and the state broadband office knows that. So we're very hopeful.
And now, are they the only ones that put in for the grant? Do you know?
That's a good
That
question,
area?
Ms. Johnson. The Comcast has also claimed that they've applied it throughout the entire Charleston County in all underserved areas. So we're working with the regional affairs director at Comcast, who has made that statement to me, that they have applied throughout the entire District 8.
So it's only those two.
And I will say that from county council's standpoint, we did send every internet service provider a letter saying, we want you guys to apply. We encourage you guys to apply. Let us know, what you need from us to, make the application happen. And PRTC was the only one we heard back from that said, can you write a support letter? So we're not picking favorites. That's who's reached out to us and asked us to write a support letter. We are happy to write support letters for any vendor that approaches us, and we told them such.
And I think that's a very good point, because I had someone this past weekend asking me about when are they going to get this new service, and how can we help them, and can we speed people up? So I had to explain to them that the county does not have any. We are not providing any services. We are depending on the private company to do that, but we want to support their efforts to go out in the area. And we've asked, especially PRTC, I think they've been with us since the beginning of the pandemic, saying that they want to help in that area. Not everybody want to work in that area. So I think that's, something that our viewers need to know. Go ahead, Mr. Tony.
And then we have Teresa Wagner has her hand up to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I just had a question, and you might have said it, but is there a timetable? And if once it is available for the area that would be of most interest, like me out here on John's Island, would we get any literature to give to people just in case they are aware? I just didn't know if anything would go out like from PRTC, I imagine, for this area.
We'll help them make
Mhm.
it known that
Mhm.
they've won or not the
Right.
grants.
I just wasn't sure how long it was going to be, or, you know,
Well,
I know
the
grants can take a
requirements,
while.
the state requirements are very tight in this case. They have to be substantially complete, which there's, I believe that's about 90% complete within 2 years. So it's pretty aggressive. It didn't scare them off though. They're still going for it. PRTC is a very focused company. The issue, 2 years may sound like a long time, but considering, look at all these roads here. These all have to be buried. The fiber's got to be buried. In some cases, it'll be on telephone poles, but in most cases, it'll be buried fiber. So this is a tremendous amount of construction work where roads, have to be breached to get underneath them, to dig beside them. Of course, they'll work with the county to get all the proper permits. But one of the issues is because everybody's trying to build out broadband because there's so much money and so much interest, is that availability of materials is an issue. Fiber optics, the actual glass fiber is 9 months to 12 months to be able to get it once you order it. So, that's a big issue. Fortunately, PRTC has, I guess, quite a bit of reels in stock, and they can get started and then get delivery of the other items. But so that is definitely an issue. However, they are required, if they win the grant, to be substantially complete within 2 years. And a lot of the construction will start very quickly.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And so that's stop share. That's pretty much the quick summary. Now, as far as the overall broadband throughout the state of South Carolina and throughout the United States, so we have the ARPA, which is state funded, and then you have the federal infrastructure legislation, which provides more money towards broadband. So I believe the goal of the federal government is to have every home and business wired for high-speed internet within the next 5 years, and 5 to 7 years. And they're putting up quite a bit of money to make that happen. So it's kind of like wiring for phone service back in the 30s and 40s. You need a phone. You have to have a phone. And so the federal government provided that funding. And now it's the same thing, except now it's fiber optics and not copper phone lines.
All right. And so when the federal government puts that money out, it probably wouldn't come directly to us, you think?
That is
It'll go
correct.
to the state first, and then they send it down to us.
It'll be it hasn't been finalized, the rules yet, Ms. Johnson, but everybody's thinking that it's going to be in the same way as ARPA funding.
Mhm.
It'll go to the state, and then the state will manage how it gets dispersed. It likely
Okay.
will not go to counties or municipalities directly.
Okay. And so the program that the state has now, I saw this map where they identified where there are areas that have broadband or don't have broadband.
Right.
And they were talking about just making sure that everybody has that built out. Is that within this 5 to 7 year period you're talking about, or is that a different map?
That's exactly it. All areas that are underserved or unserved. And just for the definition, underserved area or unserved is internet that is, and this may be technical, but most of you understand, that doesn't achieve a 25 megabit per second download, which is enough to stream video, and a 3 megabit upload. So if you're considered underserved or unserved if you don't have reached that benchmark. So if you do have that service now, it's not quite prime time. You can't do 4K video over that, for example, but you're considered to be served with broadband. Anyways, that said, so all areas that are underneath that criteria, Ms. Johnson, will be funded eventually within the next 5 to 7 years.
So if somebody was working from home, you know, maybe with the kind of files that they would need to download and everything, would that, would they be able to utilize this 25 megabits,
Yes.
megabytes?
Yes, they can. That is considered broadband by the FCC. That's their broadband definition.
Mhm.
So you can do Zoom calls, you can do download
Okay,
video, you could stream video. The only thing you'd be limited is future applications, such as 4K video. I don't know if you're familiar with, that's kind of the new wave of very high bandwidth requirements, 4K. That's the only thing. So it's not future proof. But it's currently very sufficient to do all applications that a person needs to do at their home.
now I heard there are some places that they're utilizing 5G and 6G. So how does that compare with what we're talking about, the limit, right?
Well, 5G is very good. But it's still mostly a mobile application. It's still made for your mobile phone. It's not optimized for fixed service. And often there's data caps on it where, you're going to pay a lot more money if you go above a certain amount of data.
Mhm.
And it's not available in a lot of locations. I know that a lot of the cellular companies are saying, hey, we got fixed home service, we got 5G fixed service. But the reality is that is, if they do, that's kind of a temporary Band-Aid, that's a temporary fix. In my view, from the telecom director's view, what you want is fiber optics. Wireless will never achieve the kind of data rates and reliability as a fiber going into your home or business.
Okay. All right. Well, do we have anyone with a question? Looks like somebody's in the chat, Miss Worston. No questions, no comments? Everybody's happy?
Anna, can you
Oh,
hear
yes.
me?
Go ahead.
This is Al Brenda. I'm not at home, so my Zoom line is not working properly on my phone.
Okay.
I wanted to ask if he could just give me the information about Parker's Ferry again. And I guess I heard him say something about 174 and 162, but does that go into Sugar Hill section?
I'm not familiar with where Sugar. I wish you could see this map. I'll tell you what, we'll get, Kristen will send you this directly so you can see exactly what areas are being covered. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, that would be reasonable.
Okay.
I don't think that's.
I heard Anna ask a question about Parker's Ferry. That's why I was asking. I didn't get it all. Your response to her question. So.
Well, he was saying that the boundary is one area up to 174 and Highway 162, right?
Correct. That's correct, Ms. Johnson. That's a current built out area. The current app applied for areas that is going to be awarded, hopefully, well, it will be awarded one way or another by mid-December, is in the Parker's Ferry area, which is, in Parker's Ferry where the homes are. And again, we'll say, I know you can't see this map, but we'll get this to you and you can see if what areas in particular specifically are applied for, and hopefully we'll get grants.
Okay.
Okay, and one more question. He gave a website for PRTC that people can go and apply or check to see if they're in that particular approved area?
In the current approved area, yes. And we'll send that to you too, but that's prtc.us. prtc.us. But Kristen you have her email, Kristen?
Oh, yeah, she can send it out to everybody.
I
All right,
do.
awesome. Perfect. I'll get this to you right after the call.
Okay. Anyone
Okay.
else?
Yes, I am. Connie M. Johnson.
Yes.
This is Mary Jones from Boardwalk Island.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank you for a job well done. And to Mr. Tunick, I heard the various county names were mentioned. And I just want to reinforce that I'm hoping and praying that Guatemala Island is also upon receiving the broadband. You know, so many times we are left unnoticeable and unattended, but I noticed that Consul Anna Johnson is pushing for us. So when you start spreading out your map, I hope that Guatemala Island is also included. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, keep in mind, we got to have these companies that are willing to apply for these grants in the various areas. And that's the first thing we have to get done.
Correct.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I was just gonna say too that the county doesn't pick and choose the areas. It's the internet providers that pick the areas based on the population and financial reasons, basically. But I do believe, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, I do remember that AT&T said they thought they would be doing a little bit of build out on Guatemala.
Yeah, they said they are building out now slowly. And I'm hoping that they applied for funding in that area as well as Comcast, because PRTC has not crossed the Edisto River yet. Excuse me, not the Edisto, that's the Stono River, right? That separates Guatemala from the Stono. They have not crossed the Stono with their fiber, and that's the major task to do.
So they're just concentrating in one area, Edisto pretty much, and the Parkers Ferry, Hollywood area over there. They haven't come to Johns Island yet.
That's correct.
Yeah. So we have to look at, some other companies may be doing that. And I think that's a good thing for our listeners to, understand that these companies choose where they want to go. We are not the ones that's choosing that, for the services. Okay, well, Mr. Tunick, thank you so much. And so we are going to look forward to hearing from you in December. Somewhere, maybe, hopefully before the Christmas time. We need to have a nice Christmas gift.
That would be lovely. I'm praying for it myself.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you again. And I want to thank all of our participants for coming on. Ms. Worston, do we have our December topic?
We have November, and it is scheduled for November 23rd. It is not the fourth Thursday like it typically is. It's the third. Oh, actually, it is the fourth. Typically, we do it. We might end up doing it the 16th, though, because we'll have to talk to Ms. Johnson about that, because the next day is Thanksgiving. So I'm not sure that everybody wants to do that, but
no, we have to do it before that day.
yeah.
Well,
So it will likely be November 16th then for the next roundtable.
Okay.
And I know you had a couple of thoughts, maybe resilience.
Okay, we'll make a decision on that one and send it out to everybody.
All right.
Okay. Well, until the next time, I certainly want to thank you all for coming on. And by that time, when we have the next meeting, we'll have the election over with and we'll be ready to go for the next term. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you all have a great day.
You too. Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
All right. Bye-bye.